crack out of the chaos.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Hello and welcome to week 6 of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach. Cold enough for you out there, big guy?
Oh, yeah. Those young bones feel it.
So I got to ask, what is the coldest you've ever been? What place comes to mind from all your coaching days?
Billings, Montana.
Billy, what in the world were you doing in Billings, Montana? Recruiting?
Yeah, I don't know. Assistant basketball coach back in 1981.
Uh-huh.
We went up there to play, and boy, was it cold.
Do you remember what the actual temperature was?
I didn't check, but it was cold. Yeah. There was no need to check. All I knew was cold.
There's a spot at the very bottom of the thermometer that just says COLD.
Oh,
that's all you need to know.
That's it. It was cold.
Well, the Saints get the wild card playoff win over the Chicago Bears, 21-9, but the game was nowhere near as close as that score indicated.
No, the Saints pretty much dominated. The defense, I thought, really played well.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't make a lot of mistakes, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah. It's amazing how in athletic competition there are points in every contest where if you make a play here or there, you can change the outcome. That dropped pass in the end zone, as far as momentum, that was huge, Coach.
Oh, well, momentum is the key to in sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
And I can even go a little further and say in life.
Yeah.
Momentum plays a really key part. So,
Good point.
Yeah.
It took a while for the offense to get rolling, but you got to credit the coaching staff for making some good adjustments at the half.
Well, that's one of the things Payton does well.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Payton does a good job of making adjustments with his team. And, boy, it's a lot easier when you have a quarterback like Drew Brees to go out there and make adjustments.
Of course, now it's also easy to make adjustments not only when you have a Drew Brees on the offense, but when you got Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara back in the lineup, too.
Make a big difference. And what it did with having Michael Thomas back, it gave him another weapon to go with the other weapons he had on the offense. And you mentioned Kamara, he had 99-yard rushing, so that was a big deal.
It was really kind of glaring in watching the game. If you were able to dominate a team the way the Saints dominated the Bears, just imagine how much greater it could have been if you would have had 70,000 screaming fans in the Superdome. But I guess there's positives and negatives. You don't have that energy of the crowd to feed off of. But on the other hand, since you don't have all that noise, you can communicate more effectively with your teammates, both offense and defense.
Yeah, you really can. You could hear them. I could hear the players talking.
Yeah.
And that's one of the benefits for people like you and I. We could hear some of the things being said out there.
Mm-hmm. And some of the things that they had to bleep out, of course, but that's all that's a part of the game. We have highlights from this wild card Saturday or Sunday, actually, win. So we'll roll those, Coach, as we continue our conversation. The defense played absolutely lights out all game, well, except for that last play to Jimmy Graham. But that was just an absolutely great catch. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, it was a great catch, and, it took care of it. But, like I said, the defense played well. Offense played well enough. And they have something to build on for next week against Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. So they're obviously they need to play a little better, because I think with Tom Brady, he's got the capability of putting up more points.
A lot of fans, and I seem to remember you being one of those that were worried about Chicago. But if there's anybody in the business that can game plan to beat a team that you've played earlier in the season, Sean Payton's got to be up there in the top 3.
Oh, yeah, he's way up there. And, I was worried about that Bears defense. And fortunate the Saints were able to really capitalize and did just enough. And we just showed where the gentleman missed the ball in the end zone. I tell you, that was really a backbreaker,
Yep.
Yeah.
Last week, as we just saw the Saints on offense, last week we mentioned the fact that Drew Brees completed passes to 9 different receivers, and we were talking about how that really makes it tough on a defense. Well, lo and behold, this time around, he completed passes to 10 different receivers.
Well, it keeps the defense spread out. You can't really key. And that was one of the reasons having Michael Thomas back. And, Drew has been going more and more to 87, his tight end.
Yeah.
He's played more key role. And it's because once you spread your defense out, the tight end has the middle to work.
Yeah, and additionally, Deontay Harris had 7 catches for 83 yards, and when you've got a Michael Thomas back, it almost demands double coverage. So that's going to open the door for somebody else. And Deontay Harris took full advantage. And of course, we can say Deontay took advantage, but Drew Brees, also being the cerebral quarterback that he is, realized early on, all right, if you're going to double team Michael Thomas, that means somebody else is available, and I will find him.
Well, and also with Kamara coming out of the backfield,
true,
commands attention again.
Yep.
So there is going to be someone open. I don't care what kind of defense you have. It's pretty difficult to try and play man-on-man with those kind of weapons coming at you.
Mm-hmm. Marty, if you would you be so kind as to remove that block there for me so I can see what time we're actually. Thank you kindly, sir. One of the stats that really stood out to me was time of possession. 38 minutes, 58 seconds for the Saints. 21 minutes and 2 seconds for the Bears. That's almost a 2-to-1 ratio as far as time of possession. When you hold the ball twice as long as your opponent, you kind of assure yourself of a good outcome, don't you?
You really do. And the thing, Clarence, that we need to be conscious of is that when that happens, you're keeping their defense on the field.
Yep.
And your defense is rested.
Yep.
So that's why I think toward the end of the game, players were playing at a higher level.
Yeah.
Because they weren't out there very long.
Right. And conversely, you could see on that late early fourth quarter, drive, where the Saints ate up 9 minutes off the clock on one drive. I was watching the defensive front for Chicago. All the hands on the hips. They're sucking air at that point. And not only, as you mentioned, is their defense on the field that much longer, but their offense is on the bench. And barring a turnover, you can't score if your offense is on the sideline.
Well, you can score, but your offense won't be doing the scoring.
Right, it had to be a turnover.
That's right. So you're right. And their offense is good enough where they could do some damage.
Yeah. One of the things in the box score that we talked about, I want to say last week or week before, was a huge improvement this time around. Only 4 penalties for the Saints for 20 yards.
Well, I noticed the whole weekend there were not a lot of penalties in any of the games because the officials are letting them play a little more.
Right.
And that's good for the game. Penalties are not good when you have a bunch of penalties. So I think that with the Saints and all the other teams, there weren't a lot of flags being thrown.
Now, conventional wisdom, Coach, would say at 12-4, you're 16 games into the season, your infractions should automatically drop. Because, I mean, after all, this is not week 2. You're talking week 16. Or is it a case where many times other teams force you into penalties?
Yeah, you're forced into it. I mean, penalty is really a part of the game. So,
right.
They probably had more than they called. But, again, the officials saw where they were clean enough to let them play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If with blatant penalties, you got to call them.
Well, yeah.
You know, so.
Do you think that it's ever a situation where an edict comes down from on high, commissioner's office, league office, whatever, let them play? Unless it's blatant, let them play. Does that ever happen, you think?
It could. I'm not going to say because I don't know.
Right.
But I know it's in the best interest. If the coaches are complaining about too many flags, and they remember, the officials who are calling these playoffs are the best of the best.
Allegedly.
They're the best of the best. And
try telling that to Saints fans that were there for the Minnesota game and the other game that these are the best of the best.
Game.
And the Ram game,
Yeah, so, these are pretty good officials. So, it worked out pretty good.
Up next, Tom Brady, Tampa Bay. You'll be trying to beat a team for the 3rd time in the season. It's not just easy as talking about it, is it?
It's a lot different. The energy level is a lot higher. The great experience of Brady, been there before, done that.
Yeah. Can you believe we will be watching a playoff game where the 2 starting quarterbacks combined are over 80 years old?
Grandpa?
Pawpaw gonna be slinging that thing, Coach.
That's really, but it's good for the sport.
Oh, yeah. And it says a lot about the state of physical fitness, the state of, what's the term I'm looking for? Medical advancements in athletics for them to be able to do that. We need to get our first break of today's show out of the way. When we come back, yet another surprise visit from a guy that is absolutely an awesome individual, not to mention one heck of a coach and a baseball player. That's up next on this edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Beep, beep. Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock, conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Buggs Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Buggs Show. The only thing missing is you.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back for segment 2 of week 6 of the Roger Cador Show. And if you were with us as we headed into the last break, you know I teased this segment with the fact that we've got yet another amazing individual and just overall good guy that's given us the time, gracing us, if you will, with his presence for this segment of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, if you would, tell the folks who we've got standing by on the line with us.
Well, we've got a really good friend of mine, and we go way back. His name is Ron Washington. Many of you all knew that he was the manager for Texas, and then now he's the third base coach and field instructor with Atlanta Braves. But for me, it goes big because Ron and I competed against each other.
I can tell by the way you smile when you're talking about him that this is not just a competitor, but a friend.
It's a friend. Yeah, we've been a friend a long time. Ron, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Roger. And I certainly appreciate the introduction. And you're right, we do go way back.
Yeah, but Ron, I want you to tell the people that you were part of a unique situation when Kansas City started academy started by Sid Thrift. Can you tell us a little about what the academy was, the purpose of it was?
Well, the purpose of it was to try to get athletes. They didn't have actually had to be baseball players, but Sid Thrift had this vision that he could get athletes and he could teach them baseball, and he could put together something that would be successful. And for 2 years, it was successful. But I just think the financial part of it just got a little too much for Ewing Kaufman, who was the owner of the Kansas City Royals. And, they produced about 6 or 7 guys that made it to the big leagues.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
Like I said, you didn't have to be a baseball player. If you was a good athlete, they felt like they could teach you the game and turn you into a baseball player.
Well, Ron, a lot of people don't know how many years you played in the minor leagues before you actually got to the big leagues.
10.
10
I spent
years.
10 years in the minor leagues before I got to the big leagues. And, I thought by the time I was 25 years old, I may have had an opportunity at the big leagues. But, sometimes in this game of baseball, freak things happen. I had a knee injury, and the knee injury put me out for a couple years. But I recovered, and then I ended up getting to the big leagues to stay in 1982.
That's wonderful. I'm going to ask one more question before I turn it over to Clarence. How many years were you instructor and third base coach. I know one of the first guys you developed into a Gold Glover was Eric Chavez, third baseman with Oakland. He was one of your first pupil. Tell us a little about some of the things you do, because you have some unique ways of developing young infielders.
Well, I was with the Oakland A's at the time, and Billy Bean and the group that was running things over there in Oakland, Sandy Alderson, they decided that they had some young kids at AA that they was going to bring up to the big leagues, and Eric Chavez and Miguel Tejada, they were two of the young guys that they had. And Eric Chavez was a power hitter, and he was a third baseman. And, I got some information from the minor league director on the things he needed to work on. And the information that they gave me, it took up almost a whole page. And I said, if this guy has this many faults, what is he doing up here? So what I did actually, as a guy that played the game, a guy that went through the struggles of getting to the big leagues, I decided I would talk to Eric Chavez myself. And I asked Eric, I said, Eric, they gave me this list right here for all the things that they say that you need a lot of assistance on. What's the big deal? And his comment was, Wash, I can catch the ball. My problem is throwing it. Well, I went to work on how to use his feet, and he learned how to use his feet with perfection. And the one problem that Eric said he had, he fixed, and all the other problems they had on the paper, it went to the trash.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ron, you've been noted for your ability to connect with personalities, with people, no matter how young or old, how large or small. Where does that trait within you come from, Ron?
I think that trait came from all the influence of the coaches and, little league coaches, minor league coaches, big league coaches, all the people that influence you on your way through a system. And, they always tried to make a difference in my life. They always tried to make certain that even though there was things as a young kid I thought they were picking on me on, they made me understand it was a part of the process. So
right.
I've always thought about that when it happened to me. I said, well, when I get to the point where I start coaching, I'm going to have patience. I'm going to make certain that I'm one of the positive people in the person that I'm dealing with life, even when he's away from the ballpark, because there were people that did that same thing to me, and I felt like I turned out to be a pretty good person.
Wow.
And so, and the more you experience it with kids, and the more you see the difference that you're making in their lives, it makes you stronger, and you get to the point, especially in the game of sports, especially in sports, you're always trying to help someone realize their dreams, especially when you're on the side that I'm on, and that's teaching and coaching. So that's what did it for me. It was always influences that were in my life that influenced me when I started coaching to continue to do the things that I do for the people that I'm able to influence.
Because of the COVID-19 shutdown last year, you got to spend more time in your native New Orleans for that time of year, maybe than any other time in the last 40 years. What was that like for you, Ron?
Well, it was tough. It's real tough, especially last year when I had to wait till almost July to get out of here. I used to be gone by the middle of February.
Right.
So it was tough, and not only was it tough being at home when you're not used to being at home, I was at home. We only could leave the house to go to the grocery store to make certain that we had food in the house. We only left the house for necessities. Other than that, I was at home. It's different when you can be at home and you have freedom to run around and do things, maybe take a vacation or something like that. But I was at home, so that was tough. I caught up on a lot of TV. I caught up on a lot of books that I bought, and they were on the shelf. So I tried one time to see how many books I could read before I head for spring training, and it took me one book. So I have a ton of books left to read.
Speaking of really, really tough things to do, you gave up the lifelong habit of smoking because of COVID-19 4 months ago. How tough was that in your upper to mid 60s of age?
Well, that's another one that was very tough. And to be honest with you, I have given it up, but I haven't totally given it up.
Right.
Because I would sneak one or two every now and then.
Right.
But where I was, where I am, it's like giving it up. But, you know, I can't say that I totally give it up because I wouldn't want to say that then somebody catch me sneaking somewhere, you know, around the corner with a cigarette. So, yes, I have given it up to the point where I'm not smoking cigarettes like I used to.
Right.
But every now and then I will sneak one.
Right, right. Well, you're an honest man, Ron, and anybody has to respect that. You know, I look at the longevity of your career and the amount of travel involved. And I think many times, and I can only relate to it in terms of my late mother. My father served 27 years in the military, United States Army. And through all of his deployments, there were any number of times where he was stationed overseas or another part of the country. The family would join him later, but it always fell on my mother to pack the family up, move to wherever my father was stationed at the time. It takes a phenomenal woman to deal with the likes of an individual that has the career options like you have as far as the travel and the amount of time away from home. Can you say enough about the Major League Baseball wives and how they contribute to the well-being mentally, particularly, and fiscally of Major League players?
Well, you know what they say, behind every good man, there's a good woman.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start talking about athletes, you have to have a good woman because, as you just mentioned, you do travel, you find yourself in different parts of the country. And the thing is, you have to pick up and go because that is your job.
Yep.
That is your obligation. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully you have a wife that don't mind jumping on a plane and traveling, or don't mind grabbing the kids and throwing them in the car and traveling. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think sometimes it just depends on how they look at it. They look at it as educational for the kids because they get to see parts of the country that maybe a lot of normal people don't get a chance to see.
Right.
But they also help you as the provider to keep a peace of mind, to know that the things that you know that you should be a part of, taking care of, you chose a job that don't allow you to do that. So in the wintertime, most of us, when we home in the wintertime, that's when we allow the wives to go and do whatever they want to do, and we become the mom and the dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it works on both sides, but as you mentioned, it does take a very special lady to be involved in the type of lifestyle that we have. Because when we, in 2020, when we opened the season, it was a phone call to Dave, and I had to be out of here in a couple days.
Yep.
Well, I could pack in a night to go where I have to go.
Mm-hmm.
But then I left back the responsibilities that she and I were handling together.
Mm-hmm.
Now she got to handle it because in 2 days I had to be gone.
Yeah.
Well,
And they handled it. They handled it.
yeah.
So they're very special, and I don't think that I could have had the success that I had in my life if it wasn't for my wife, even though I screwed up at times.
Well, we all do, Ron. I've done it a lot in my lifetime. But we certainly appreciate you coming on today. We're short on time, but I know we could talk for the next hour. But I appreciate you doing this, and we look forward to doing it. Maybe once spring training starts, we could have you back on, okay?
Yes, you got my number, Roger. You know, and all you got to do is reach out. Clarence, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure was all mine.
Okay.
Ron Washington, the third base coach and fielding instructor for the Atlanta Braves. Take care of yourself and stay safe, Ron.
I most definitely will, and you guys do the same.
All right, I'll call you later.
All right, Roger.
All right, bye.
So how is it that you managed, finagled, was so blessed to have all these phenomenally good people in your life?
Well, I talk to everybody. You know, I talk with it to everybody, and I have a lot of friends. And the thing is, I'm not a burdensome person.
Right.
I never burdensome down.
Right.
So when I call, they usually answer.
Yeah.
And then we're able to have dialogue. And now with this show, I see an opportunity to bring them on.
Mm-hmm.
And we can give our listening community, audience, something different.
Yeah. When he says, I talk to everybody, he is not lying, y'all. I can't tell you the number of times during the show when we used to do it at various hotels, people are randomly walking through the lobby, going to their rooms, and this guy, like, hey, you want to be on TV? Come over here. And they're all like, who is this guy? First of all, why is he talking to me? Second, and yeah, if he wants me to, I'll be on the show. When he says it, trust me, it is the gospel truth. Speaking of special people, we got yet another one still to come on today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. There I go again. Twice this season.
That's
the Roger Cador Show. Who is it? Well, you're going to have to come back to find out. That's next on the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
You calling the shots.
Yeah, but it's still the Roger Show.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Bugg Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Bugg Show. The only thing missing is you.
Break out of the chaos.
Welcome back for segment 3 of today's edition of the Roger Cador Show. It has been an absolutely wonderful show so far, and the hits just keep on coming, as we say in the radio business. Here to shed a little insight from a unique perspective on things going on at Southern University is a friend to all of the Jaguar Nation, and a guy that has a very special place in our hearts. So who am I talking about, Coach Cador?
You're talking about a young man that I literally raised that young man. His mother and I worked together for 30 years in athletic. She was the secretary. We're talking about no other than Domoine Rutledge. Hello, Des Moines.
Hello, Coach Cador. Good afternoon to both of you and Clarence. Very happy to have had an opportunity to join you guys.
Well, you know, we need to tell people, the listening audience, what you do. You're the chairman of the Board of Supervisors, and this is you've overseen a whole lot of wonderful things. So I'd like for you to tell us about some of the things that people may not know is taking place. We know about the medical marijuana project, and we know about some other things, but there there are some other very important issues that are taking place sort of behind the scene. Can you talk to us about it?
Oh, sure. I would be happy to. Obviously, you mentioned the medical marijuana program, which is something we're very proud of. As you know, the legislature granted exclusive rights to both Southern and LSU to conduct marijuana programs for medicinal purposes. We have a temporary growing operation in Baker and a major expansion of that manufacturing cannabis facility is underway. Ilera Holistic Healthcare has been licensed by Southern University and is conducting the research, and they're literally putting various products on the shelf almost on a monthly basis. And in addition to that, from selling to those persons who meet the disease state, we also have underway complementary research and development programs in which our faculty and students participate. This past year has been a very interesting year in the higher education space, not only unique to Southern University, but across the country. With COVID, we literally had to transition and pivot overnight from sort of a brick and mortar delivery of instruction to online delivery of instruction. And it was a yeoman undertaken by our administration, faculty, and staff, as well as students and parents, families, to cooperate. We slowly transitioned our students back to campus. We also offered sort of a hybrid model for those students. All the while, at least 4 of our units were undergoing their on-site reaffirmation of their accreditation, namely SUSLA, the Baton Rouge campus, SUNO, as well as the Law Center. I'm very pleased to report that the Baton Rouge campus completed its on-site reaffirmation with flying colors and was reaffirmed. SUNO and the Law Center was interrupted because of COVID, and the site team could not visit, and we hope to have theirs completed not later than June. We're preparing now to receive our students back after a long break. Like many others, based on recommendations from the CDC, we discontinued classes after Thanksgiving. Well, since that time, we've seen a tremendous spike in the rate of infection across this country. We're very concerned about that and working diligently to put in appropriate protocols to receive our students back on campus on January the 19th.
I want to talk about 2 more projects, the Valdry Center, and then the trip you all took out to Phoenix, Arizona to look at Arizona State.
Yes. First, the Valdry Center. We're so very proud of the work of the foundation. Its CEO, Alfred Harrell, we recently constructed a Center for Philanthropy. And that was very strategic. That was very intentional to call it a Center for Philanthropy. You see, because you can fundraise by selling world's finest chocolate, candy, cookies, and that kind of thing. But when people engage in philanthropy, they do so because it has some alignment to their value system. And we find giving is a value proposition. And so that has been sort of the coin of the realm. We're the first HBCU in the nation, frankly, to have a Center for Philanthropy. And we're driving students not only to become educated about philanthropy and giving back, but also we hope to offer a degree in philanthropy very soon. We host all sorts of webinars, and we have a tremendous impact in the nonprofit space regarding that. The work of the foundation also, as you know, the Walmart has made a commitment to invest upwards of $200 million for social equity social justice initiatives. I, along with the president, Dr. Belton, Al Harrell, our CEO of the foundation, and Tamara Foster Montgomery over our placement office, traveled to Bentonville, Arkansas last year. And we were one of about 5 HBCUs invited to participate. Not only were they so impressed, but we invited them to come to Southern University. And in fact, I think of the 6 that went, they only came and made a visit to Southern to see what we're doing in the philanthropy space and how they can make a contribution to impact that, to grow it, and to enhance it. And so we're looking forward, hopefully this year, within the first or second quarter of this year, that they will make determinations as to how they're going to allocate that money.
And about the Phoenix trip.
Oh, yes. Several years ago, we, through the assistance of the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, Clarence, took a trip to Phoenix, Arizona to take a look at Arizona State and some of the work that they're doing. And they have really changed the model in terms of higher education upside down. And they are doing phenomenal things, one of which is taking the institution into urban settings, to downtown settings, creating partnerships with local municipalities where they're hosting classes. They're bringing these services and resources to non-traditional students who may work, have other family obligations, and making access to certification programs, associate degrees, baccalaureate degrees, more accessible to everyday people. And so we've come back and we've been working diligently on how to implement that model at Southern University. Some of it's underway because we currently offer classes downtown through the Law Center and Business School.
Domoine, being in a position of leadership at an institution of higher learning, what is helping lead this university during a pandemic taught Domoine Rutledge about himself?
Well, for me, Clarence, it really changed, it really forced us to change our thinking in terms of what this delivery model is going to look like 10, 15 years from now, number one. Number two, I think it is also, and while we were having conversations about that, it accelerated our thinking about defining what Southern University's value proposition is, how we articulate that, right?
Right.
And taking a very strong look at our core inventory of academic offerings to see what's working and what is not working, what we ought to be focused on, and what's going to attract students and to Southern University such that we become continue to be an institution of higher learning and an institution of choice for families not only in this community, in this state, but across the country and the world.
Coach and I both remember watching you literally grow up, roaming the halls of the mini dome as a child. I mean, we both remember, Peanut, get out of that closet. Peanut, what you doing over there, boy? So that being said, what does it mean to you as truly a, quote, Southern boy to be where you are now?
I am, Clarence, the beneficiary of the promise of Southern.
Bless your heart.
Okay, to take me, the least of which, right? 1010 Avenue B.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The least of these. But to take me in the condition in which they found me, dust me off, educated, equipped, and prepared me to go out and compete in the global marketplace. So that's the promise of Southern. That's the promise of Southern. Not fully prepared. Not a diamond yet, but a lump of coal that they took and dusted me off to make me what I am today. And through people like Clarence Buggs and Roger Cador and the generosity of strangers, Ruff and Paul, and the providence of God, I turned out to be halfway something. Avon Honey, God bless his memory, used to tell me, and Gerald Kimball, when I was a young student, they said, we think one of three things you will become, one of three things. I said, what's that? They said a lawyer, a preacher, or a serious candidate for Angola.
but Des Moines, as I sit here and listen to you say that, that's also, is it not, the best argument that in a city that's also the home of the state's flagship university, LSU, it's also why parents and students should seriously consider Southern University, correct?
Exactly. We're doing wonderful things. As a matter of fact, I have a cousin who just graduated in May in mechanical engineering, who's on his way to Peoria, Illinois, a young man who grew up in Scotlandville.
Wow.
On his way as a mechanical engineer to go work for Caterpillar. And that story can be repeated over and over and replicated over and over countless times to the nameless and faceless people who have come from, as the song says, across the fruited plain, the Roger Cadors of the world, from Point Capee Parish over there in New Roads to come and to do the great things that he has done. And so I am grateful, and the little time and little money and little talent I have that I can give back to Southern, it does me all the good in the world. When I met Roger Cador, he was an assistant basketball coach, not the great Hall of Fame baseball coach that he eventually became.
Well, you're right, Des Moines. I appreciate you saying all those things. We were happy to get you in here today because the people in the Baton Rouge community needs to hear from someone at the top some of the good things that are taking place, not the negative thing, because there are negative everywhere we go.
Correct.
It's just what you choose to focus on. And there are a lot of good things that the university is doing for the less fortunate people. So we're happy you were on today. Thanks for coming. We look forward to speaking with you later.
Thank you. I'd love to come back anytime.
Fantastic. Des Moines Rutledge, chairman of the SU Board of Supervisors. Thank you so much for the time, young man. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, we need to get our final break of today's show out of the way. Still to come on today's edition of the Roger Cador Show, perfection from a young lady in LSU gymnastics, that and more when week 6 of the Roger Cador Show continues here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Long as you're not talking about Alan.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe & Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Bugg Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Bugg Show. The only thing missing is you.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to week 6 of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, the last time we talked about gymnastics at Louisiana State University, it was announcing the departure of one of our favorite people, the legendary Dee Bro. And, of course, a lot of people had speculation as to what was going to happen with the program. Well, a phenomenal event. The final night of number 3, LSU, taking on number 15, Arkansas, and a young lady by the name of Kaya Johnson had the equivalent of a walk-off home run. Final event of the night, final competitor of the night, the floor exercise, and she nails a perfect 10. Can you imagine what kind of pressure she was under and what kind of fortitude is within this young lady to nail a perfect 10 in a win or lose scenario?
Nadia Comaneci did it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is true.
But, you know, one thing I've learned about athletes, when you practice them and prepare them, this kind of pressure is not the normal pressure that normal people experience.
Right.
You know, they're in the moment,
right,
and they want to hit that 10.
Yeah.
So it's a little different for them because they fantasize and dream about that moment.
Wanting to be in that particular moment. Well, we have out in the truck this amazing performance, and it is indicative of the old adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So we will let the picture speak for us. Guys, if you will, let's roll those highlights.
She's dancing.
I mean, from the floor exercise, there's so much freedom that you're given, but you can see the confidence. Wow. You can see the confidence from the opening tune, the opening notes of the floor routine exercise.
Well, she's a really good athlete to do that kind of jump. She got off the floor. There was a lot of space between her and the floor.
Nice.
Clarence, that reminds me of something you could do.
Not on my best day, Coach. Not on my best day. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, this was the third perfect 10 of her career and her first perfect 10 on the floor exercise. And she now joins April Burkholder and Sarah Finnegan as the only gymnast in the history of LSU gymnastics to earn a perfect 10 on 3 different events. Of course, that looks like something you used to do back in the day.
Boy, she got off the floor. But I was watching her teammates. They pulling for her.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what it's all about.
Yeah, and that was the equivalent of a walk-off home run.
Yes, it was. She really nailed it.
Yep. Speaking of nailing it, the LSU basketball Tigers had to do a very quick 36-hour turnaround after COVID reared its ugly head, but they were able to schedule a game with Ole Miss and got up there in that 36-hour turnaround and really took care of business. We've got highlights from that as well. So, guys, if you will, let's roll those highlights as we talk about this. It's amazing what you can do when you have to do it. Just 36-hour turnaround, hit the road, go up, and you lead the game from the beginning until the end.
It's a lot better when you're flying rather than driving.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But no, that's sometimes adversity. What people, everyday people maybe don't realize, they deal with adversity every day.
Yeah.
And they may not realize it.
True.
But the thing, they see athletes in a different light as they're dealing with adversity.
Yeah.
But it's no different. It's that the athlete trained to deal with adversity, we are accustomed to dealing with adversity on an everyday basis.
It's even more impressive this win when you figure the fact that their freshman phenom, Cam Thomas, went down with an ankle injury in the first 2 minutes of the game and didn't play anymore. So it was purely the next man up mentality. He's out. We can't sit here and mope about it. We got to pick up the slack, and that's exactly what they did.
Well, they have a good team, man. And that's what happened when you have a good team. The next guy steps up, fill in the gap, and we keep going.
Yeah. Now, when you look at the fact that they led this contest wire to wire without the services of their freshman phenom, to me, from a layperson's point of view, that says pure focus. I mean, going in, Ole Miss was touted as one of the best defensive teams in the SEC, but it was LSU's defense that held them to just 35% from the floor. Total focus beginning to end. With COVID and everything else going on in these young men's lives and in the world these days, how tough is it to keep that sort of focus when you get back home and take on the next opponent?
If I was a betting man, Clarence, I would bet those young men ain't thinking about COVID-19.
You think?
That's not what they think about. They know that they'll build a men of steel in their mind.
Yeah.
And they just go about doing the business in their everyday life.
Uh-huh. When they got back home, they now have 4 days before the next game. From a coaching standpoint, how do you approach getting them to keep that laser focus as they move forward?
Well, you hope they do. The championship teams are able to keep focus from start to finish.
Right.
The so-so team bounce up and down, and you could be very talented, but if you don't keep the focus, you probably won't win at the end.
Yeah. All right, 30 seconds left before we are done. Got to ask, tonight, national championship for all the marbles. You going with Little Nicky, or are you going to head up north to those other guys?
Little Nicky, I think you're tied with the Bear for the number of national championship.
Right.
Little Nicky, this is your chance to be the greatest little coach there is. You know what? If the quarterback for Ohio State is healthy, he could give them trouble.
Yeah.
That's the one kind of quarterback have given Nick Saban defense trouble. So I'm going to pick Ohio State over Lil Nicky.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Oh!
No, you didn't.
Don't shoot me out.
Whoa. Well, the good news is, Coach, we are not going to have to wait long to find out who's right and who's wrong. On behalf of the coach and, of course, the guys in the truck and the entire crew, I'm Clarence Buggs. We hope to see you next week when we're back with Week 7 of the Roger Cador Show. Whatever you do, don't miss it. Great folks coming up. We'll see you then.